Be me, 22 years old, working at GameStop, majored in computer science, but apparently that means jack shit in this job market. Spending my days explaining to confused boomers why their grandson can't play Call of Duty on a Game Boy Advance. Life is basically one long disappointment thread, with occasional breaks for Mountain Dew. One Tuesday, this woman walks in asking about Pokemon cards for her nephew. Anons. This bitch is what you'd call premium Cougar material. Probably late 30s, but looks like she figured out how to pause aging. Wearing those athletic leggings that make you forget how to form sentences. Brown hair pulled back in a ponytail. Green eyes that could melt steel beams. My autism sensors start going haywire, but somehow I manage to help without dropping spaghetti everywhere. She seems genuinely interested in what I'm explaining about trading card game mechanics. Most customers just nod and wait for me to finish talking, so this is actually refreshing. She mentions she used to play Pokemon Red back in the day and asks about the newer games. We end up having a 20-minute conversation about game design and nostalgia. Before she leaves, she says her name is Melissa and that I was really helpful. Don't think much of it until she shows up again the following week. This time she's asking about Nintendo Switch games for the same mysterious nephew. We talk for even longer this time about Zelda and Mario and somehow get on to anime. Turns out she actually watches shit like Attack on Titan and doesn't call it Chinese cartoons. My brain starts doing calculations about whether this attractive older woman might actually be into me. Third visit, she asks about Xbox games and we end up discussing Dark Souls for like 30 minutes. She laughs at my jokes about dying constantly to the tutorial boss, compliments my knowledge and says most guys her age think video games are childish, starts asking personal questions about college and my plans for the future, tells me I'm really mature for someone my age and that she enjoys our conversations. By the fourth visit, I realize she's not buying anything, just coming in to talk to me, work up the courage to ask if she wants to grab coffee sometime. She lights up and says she was hoping I would ask. We exchange numbers and plan to meet that weekend. Spend the next 3 days obsessing over what to wear and what to talk about. Show up to the coffee shop early because punctuality is important, right? She arrives looking even better than she does at work somehow. Wearing a sundress that should probably be illegal in 17 states. Conversation flows naturally, talking about movies, books, travel experiences. She tells me about her job in marketing and her divorce 2 years ago, mentions she had a son but gets quiet when I ask about him, quickly changes the subject saying she doesn't like talking about family stuff, talks about how refreshing it is to meet someone who actually listens and has interesting thoughts. Coffee date lasts 3 hours and ends with her suggesting we do this again soon. Second date is dinner at this Italian place I definitely could not afford on my own. She insists on paying, saying she invited me, and she makes more money anyway. Tells me stories about traveling through Europe and asks about my dreams and ambitions. Third date, she cooks dinner at her house, which is like something from a home magazine. Everything is perfectly arranged and expensive looking, but somehow still feels comfortable. We watch some foreign film with subtitles that goes completely over my head. She explains the deeper meanings and cultural references, making me feel smarter somehow. Things naturally progress, and we end up kissing on her couch. She suggests we move to her bedroom, and honestly, Anons, I thought I was dreaming. Wake up the next morning in her bed feeling like I just won the damn lottery. She makes eggs Benedict and proper coffee, not the instant crap I usually drink. Tells me how much she enjoyed last night and how special I make her feel. Officially start dating after that, and for the first time in my life, everything seems perfect. She takes me to restaurants with cloth napkins and wine lists, buys me clothes that actually fit, instead of the clearance rack disasters I usually wear. Introduces me to her friends who all seem impressed that she's dating someone so young and interesting. Teaches me about wine and art and classical music, making me feel cultured. The physical relationship is incredible. She knows shit I didn't even know was possible. Start staying over at my apartment sometimes, which makes my roommate incredibly jealous. For about 2 months, I genuinely believe I have ascended to some higher plane of existence. Then subtle changes start happening that I don't notice at first. And she begins making small comments about my eating habits or the way I dress when she hasn't picked out my outfit. Suggests I might want to think about getting a better job or going back to school. Starts comparing me to her ex-husband, who was apparently very successful before their marriage fell apart. Occasionally mentions her son in past tense, but I don't think much of it at the time. Figured maybe they just had a falling out or something. The compliments about my maturity slowly transform into lectures about growing up and taking life more seriously. Begins asking detailed questions about where I am and who I'm with when we're not together. Gets upset when I hang out with my college friends, saying they hold me back from reaching my potential. The romantic dinners become less frequent. replaced by conversations about my 5-year plan. Starts buying me books about career development and personal growth. Sex becomes contingent on whether I've been working toward the goals she sets for me. Accuses me of flirting with Sarah, the part-time cashier at work who is literally just doing customer service. Begins tracking my social media activity and commenting on every interaction I have with other women. Tells me she loves me, but follows it with suggestions about how I could be better. The woman who used to laugh at my jokes now sighs when I make them. Starts planning our future together without asking what I actually want from life. Talks about me quitting retail and going back to school for business or law. Keeps mentioning how her son would have been so successful if things had been different. Starts using past tense more often when talking about him, but I'm too distracted to notice. Begins introducing me to people as her boyfriend, who has so much potential. The age difference that used to make me feel special now makes me feel like a damn project. Try to bring up how uncomfortable some of this makes me, but she dismisses my concerns, tells me I'm being ungrateful, and that most guys would kill to have someone care about their success. Threatens to end the relationship whenever I push back on her suggestions. Realize I'm walking on eggshells, trying not to disappoint her constantly. My friends start asking why I seem stressed all the time, but I can't explain without sounding crazy. The woman who seemed perfect is slowly revealing herself to be controlling and manipulative as hell. Finally work up the courage to tell her I need some space to figure out what I want. She completely loses her shit like a switch flipped in her brain, starts yelling about how ungrateful I am and how much time she's wasted trying to help me, calls me just another immature boy who will never amount to anything worthwhile, says she should have known better than to get involved with someone who works retail. Then she drops the bombshell that changes everything, tells me the real reason she was attracted to me in the first place. Apparently, I remind her of her son who died in a car accident 3 years ago. Same height, same build, same color hair, even similar mannerisms. Says she thought she could love me for who I am, but I just make her miss him too much. My brain starts connecting the dots about all the past tense references. Realize she's been lying about having a living son this entire time. The room goes dead silent as this information processes in my brain. Then the anger hits me like a damn truck. Ask her straight up if she's been having the same kind of relationship with me that she had with her son. Tell her how messed up that is and how sick she must be to use me like this. She starts screaming that it's not like that and that I'm disgusting for even suggesting it. But the damage is done. We both know what kind of psychological mess this really is. Realize every moment of our relationship was built on me being a replacement for her dead child. She starts crying hysterically, saying she can't look at me anymore without thinking about what she lost. Tells me to pack my shit and never contact her again. Gather my stuff in complete shock and walk out of her house feeling violated somehow. Get back to my apartment and just sit in my car for 20 minutes trying to process what happened. Roommate takes one look at my face and knows something terrible went down. Explain the whole situation, and he stares at me like I just told him I was abducted by aliens. Tells me I basically got emotionally manipulated by a grieving mother using me as therapy. Spend the next week feeling like the biggest damn fool who ever lived. Every compliment, every gift, every intimate moment now feels tainted and wrong. The age gap wasn't about maturity. It was about me being young enough to remind her of her son. She wasn't trying to improve me as a boyfriend. She was trying to parent the child she lost. Go back to work at GameStop, but can't focus on anything. I keep thinking about how she would buy me clothes the same way a mother dresses her kid. Realize why she was so obsessed with my future and career prospects. She wasn't planning our life together. She was living vicariously through me as a parent. Start seeing a counselor because this whole experience messed with my head badly. Learn about psychological projection and how trauma can make people do irrational shit. Therapist explains that what happened to me is actually not that uncommon. Apparently, grieving parents sometimes form inappropriate relationships as coping mechanisms. Still feel stupid for not recognizing the signs earlier. The fancy dinners and expensive gifts make sense now. She was spoiling the son she never got to see grow up. Every lecture about my potential was really about the future her actual son would never have. Blocked her number and all social media accounts because I never want to see her again. Avoided the Pokemon section at work for months in case she came back. Eventually quit GameStop and got a job doing tech support, which pays better anyway. Started dating again, but now I have trust issues and anxiety about people's motives. Every time someone compliments my maturity, I get flashbacks to those conversations. Learned that age gaps can be problematic for reasons you never consider. Sometimes wonder if she ever got professional help or if she's out there using some other young guy. The whole experience taught me that some people are dealing with trauma in ways that hurt others. Decide to post this story on R9K because I need to get it off my chest. Immediately get replies calling it fake and gay. Some autist demands pics, or it didn't happen. Another basement dweller says, "Where hole there goal," like that's supposed to be wisdom. One guy actually gives decent advice about therapy and moving on. Tells me to be grateful. I learned this lesson young instead of wasting years. Another Anon shares similar story about his ex using him to replace her dead brother. Apparently this psychological replacement bullshit happens more than people realize. Some wisdom Anon drops knowledge about grieving people and projection. Says damaged people will always try to make you into what they lost. Advises never to date someone who's dealing with recent major trauma. Thread gets derailed by arguments about age of consent laws and whether cougars are based. Moral of the story, Anons. Older women might seem appealing, but some come with baggage you can't handle. Always trust your instincts. When something feels off about a relationship, and maybe avoid dating someone who seems more interested in changing you than accepting you. Still can't watch foreign films without thinking about that night. Everything fell apart. Anyway, that's how I learned that. Not all cougars are hunting for the reasons you think. TFW. You realize you were never really in a relationship, just someone's grief counseling session. Be me, 23, working tech support for a living. Life is basically customer service hell mixed with energy drinks and regret. Decide to try online dating because my social skills peaked in middle school. Match with this girl named Riley who has pink hair and seems normal enough. Her profile says she likes anime, video games, and making people laugh. Should have known that was code for something. We start texting and she's actually pretty funny. Makes jokes about my terrible profile pics and roasts my music taste. Arranged to meet for coffee at this place downtown. Show up 5 minutes early because I'm not completely hopeless. She walks in wearing that exact outfit from her profile pic, which is honestly refreshing. Pink hair and a messy bun, mint green shirt that says something I can't read, shorts that make me forget basic conversation. We sit down and start talking about normal stuff like jobs and hobbies. Conversation is going well until she excuses herself to use the bathroom, comes back and sits down like nothing happened. Take a sip of my coffee and it tastes like straight salt water. She's trying not to laugh while I'm gagging and reaching for napkins. Apparently she convinced the barista to help her prank me. Tells me she wanted to test if I had a sense of humor about unexpected situations. Honestly, kind of impressed by the coordination required. Decide this girl is either crazy or brilliant, maybe both. We laugh about it, and she buys me a replacement coffee. Rest of the date goes smooth, and we plan to meet again. Second date, she suggests mini golf, which seems innocent enough. Everything starts normal until the third hole. She's been secretly moving my ball when I'm not looking, wondering why I keep missing easy shots until I catch her red-handed. She just grins and shrugs like it's the most natural thing in the world. Tells me competition is more fun when there's chaos involved. We end up having a putting contest where we both cheat outrageously. Most fun I've had on a date in years, honestly. Third date is dinner at this casual burger place. She shows up with a small backpack, which should have been a red flag. Orders for both of us while I'm in the bathroom. Come back to find she's somehow convinced the waitress to bring me a kid's meal, complete with juice box and crayons. She's recording my reaction on her phone, trying not to burst out laughing. Other customers are staring, but she doesn't seem to care at all. Decide to lean into it and start coloring the placemat seriously. She loses it completely and can't stop giggling. Turns out she just wanted to see if I'd get embarrassed or play along. We end up sharing my chicken nuggets like we're actual children. Fourth date, she invites me to her apartment to watch movies. Place is decorated with fairy lights and has way too many stuffed animals. She puts on some horror movie and dims the lights. Halfway through, she disappears, claiming she needs snacks. Jump scare scene comes on and she pops out from behind the couch. Nearly have a heart attack and spill popcorn everywhere. She's laughing so hard she can barely breathe. Tells me my scream was absolutely precious. We spend the rest of the night cleaning up popcorn and actually watching the movie. She falls asleep with her head on my shoulder, which is surprisingly sweet. Start officially dating after that because apparently I enjoy chaos now. Every week brings some new, ridiculous situation she's orchestrated. She replaces my regular shampoo with temporary pink hair dye. Wake up looking like we're related and she acts completely innocent. Takes me grocery shopping and secretly adds weird items to our cart. Checkout person gives us strange looks as we buy pregnancy tests and cat food. Neither of us is pregnant or owns a cat. She thinks this is peak comedy gold, sets up elaborate fake spider in my car that nearly makes me crash, apologizes by bringing me homemade cookies shaped like actual spiders. They taste amazing but look absolutely terrifying. Starts leaving random notes in my apartment when she visits. Find post-its in my fridge saying things like check your socks drawer. Socks drawer contains a note saying check your coffee mug. Coffee mug has a note saying you're cute when you're confused. This goes on for like 2 hours until I find the final note with actual sweet message. Tells my coworkers embarrassing stories about me when she picks me up from work. Claims I once cried during a Disney movie, which is completely true, but still. They all think she's hilarious and start taking her side in arguments. She's turning my own workplace against me through charm and comedy. Halloween comes around and she insists we do couples costume. Shows up dressed as a ghost while I'm in normal clothes. Turns out she told me the wrong costume theme on purpose. Spends the entire party pretending she doesn't know me. And introduces herself to people as a single ghost looking for love. I'm just standing there in regular clothes feeling like an idiot. Later admits she brought a backup costume for me in her car. We end up as matching ghosts and win the costume contest somehow. Christmas shopping together becomes an adventure in public embarrassment. She convinces Mall Santa that we're engaged and need a special photo. We're not engaged, but she plays along perfectly. Santa gives us this whole speech about love and commitment. She's nodding seriously while I'm dying inside. Photo comes out with her grinning and me looking terrified. She frames it and puts it on her nightstand like it's precious. New Year's Eve, she plans the most romantic evening ever, takes me to fancy restaurant, where she's apparently bribed the staff. Waiter keeps calling me by wrong name despite my corrections. She's pretending not to notice while filming my confusion. Dessert arrives with sparklers and a note saying, "Will you marry my friend?" Entire restaurant is staring while she acts shocked and innocent. Spend 10 minutes explaining to confused staff that we're not actually engaged. She thinks this is the funniest thing that's ever happened. Valentine's Day, she outdoes herself completely. Shows up at my apartment with flowers and a huge smile. Flowers are fake and made of plastic, which seems weird but sweet. We go to dinner and she excuses herself again. Bathroom break. Waiter brings out cake with happy anniversary written in frosting. We've been dating for like 4 months, not years. She returns acting surprised and touched by the gesture. Have to explain to waiter that we're not celebrating anniversary. He looks confused because your girlfriend specifically requested this. She just shrugs and says, "Oops, must have been miscommunication." We eat the cake anyway because it actually tastes pretty good. Walking home, she suddenly gets quiet, which is unusual for her. Asks if I'm getting tired of all the pranks and chaos. Tells me her ex used to get angry when she tried to be playful. Said she was annoying and childish for wanting to have fun. Made her feel like she had to be serious and boring all the time. Realizes she's been testing me this whole time to see if I'd get fed up. Every prank was basically her way of checking if I'd stick around. Explains that she uses humor to cope with feeling insecure about relationships. Her ex was apparently controlling and made her feel bad for being herself. Tells me she's been waiting for me to snap and call her immature. Honestly, this explains so much about her behavior patterns. Tell her the pranks are actually one of my favorite things about her. She lights up like I just told her she won the lottery. We're standing outside my apartment building in the cold. She starts walking away, saying she should probably head home. Something about the way she's leaving feels off. Call out her name just as she reaches the corner. She turns around with this hopeful expression. Without thinking, I say the first thing that comes to mind. Tell her she doesn't have to keep testing me because I'm not going anywhere. She runs back and stops right in front of me. Looks up with those big blue eyes and says, "Kiss me like you mean it. Don't need to be told twice." Kiss her right there on the sidewalk while it starts snowing. She tastes like vanilla and chaos and everything good in the world. When we break apart, she's smiling bigger than I've ever seen. Tells me she's done with the pranks for tonight. We go upstairs and spend the rest of evening just talking and cuddling. Turns out underneath all the chaos, she's actually really sweet. She falls asleep in my arms and I realize I'm completely gone for this girl. Wake up the next morning to find my coffee maker filled with orange juice. She's in the kitchen grinning and holding actual coffee. Apparently old habits die hard, but at least now I understand why that feel when you realize chaotic energy was just her way of protecting her heart.